Riley Herbst from 2311 Racing here, and you know what grinds my gears? Waiting for coffee. But instead of counting frappes and lattes, I fire up Chumba Casino. No apps, no fuss, just fun social casino games to pass the time. By the time my coffee's ready,
Order for Riley.
I've already taken a few victory laps. Next time you're stuck waiting, make it entertaining. Play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to another episode of You Had Me at Cheese, where my girlfriend, Venus, and myself, Eclipse, explore the many different aspects of the human experience. We are here with our selection of cheeses, and Venus has a glass of wine ready, so feel free to bring your favorite snack and join the party. Hey listener, thank you for joining us. Today's episode is about acceptance. From the lens of being accepted and validated, we're going to talk about the importance of acceptance, what it means for us, and how being accepted has impacted our well-being, relationships, and lives. We're going to talk about the times we felt unseen and how being accepted would have changed how we felt in those moments. We hope our stories resonate with you and that you find some value in them to bring into your life.
Hey Eclipse,
Hey Venus.
here we are once again.
Here we are.
How are you feeling today?
I'm alright. I'm excited about our conversation.
Me too.
Tell me about it.
Acceptance is something that I feel we don't value enough, or we don't realize it until after the fact that we've gone through part of our life where we get accepted for whatever reason that is. And we look back and we realize how that actually played a part for us to thrive and be ourselves.
I think many people just don't think about how important acceptance is and how they might be making somebody feel just by not accepting them or not accepting what they're saying.
With that said, what does acceptance look like for you?
Acceptance to me is when people respect what I'm saying as my truth. It's complicated, right? Because there's so many places in our lives where we can be accepted, and there's so many things coming into play, and each scenario needs to be addressed slightly differently, and I get that.
100%.
But the basic thing is that I feel like a lot of people, I don't know if they look for ways to contradict, or whether it's just a matter of, I don't feel this way, so you shouldn't feel this way, or I don't know what it feels like, so it doesn't make sense to me, so I have to invalidate it. But acceptance to me is basically for somebody to come in and take what I'm saying as my truth. If I'm telling you that I'm in a polyamorous relationship, then I don't need to hear there's only one way to be in a relationship, man, woman, monogamy. I don't need to hear that because clearly that does not apply to me. If I'm telling you that I don't feel ready to go back into the workforce, then I simply am not ready. I don't need to hear you say, but what about part-time job? And have you tried this? And maybe just start and see how it goes. It's okay to ask questions to try and understand me better, but you need to come from a curious mindset and take my truth at face value and just accept it. If I told you I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And this goes the other way around too. If I have a friend who says to me they are trying to decide between two jobs, but the money is not necessarily what's important to them, it doesn't matter that it would be the most important thing to me. I believe I should accept what they're saying as true. For them, the money is not the most important thing. I don't need to contradict it because that's not what I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this answered the question. But I guess a part of it is understanding that you and the other person are separate. And the way they feel or the way they see things doesn't have to align with what you feel or how you see things. And accepting them and their views and their feelings doesn't say anything about you.
Mm.
And I feel that a lot of people struggle with that. And that's where the lack of acceptance comes from. I don't want to agree with this. I don't want to accept it because that's not true in my life.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the things that you mentioned, which is our truth, I think that hits the nail on the head. We all have our worldviews and beliefs and values, and what's true for me might not necessarily be what's true for someone else. But I think when it comes to acceptance and being seen, it's just a matter of accepting what I'm saying is my truth. I don't appreciate when people try and convince me otherwise, especially with things that I hold very dear to my heart. And if I see the world in a different way to them, don't try to convince me to see it in a different way. We can have a conversation, we can talk about it, we can discuss it. And ultimately, I will make a decision or not if there is a better way to see things. But acceptance comes from first being seen that this is how I see things and this is who I am, and just accept me for that. And that's it.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Did you have people in your life that were pushing back on you being trans and invalidating these feelings?
So the only people who have pushed back in some way were strangers.
Tell me about it.
I'm not sure how to articulate it because it seems like for some people who don't know me, they see me a certain way and it's hard for them to accept my truth.
It's interesting, because why does it matter to them that a stranger is living differently than what they would have wanted?
Exactly. What a strange concept. All I can do really is look at myself and see if I judge people who lead a different life and ask myself why.
Good point.
But ultimately, I don't understand it.
How do they show you that they don't accept you?
It's usually bottled up. I can think back on one instance, and it was this person who came into our friends group. This was a friend of a friend, and we got to know each other for maybe a week or two. And suddenly, one day, under the influence of alcohol, I think that's important to note because that's when the truth came out of what they really think about me.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you should be the man that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when things took a wrong turn for that person because they were kicked out of the friends group and threatened in a way because my friends at that time accepted me for who I am to the point of you can't talk to her like that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. It made me feel really seen in that moment that my friends chose me first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before your friends reacted, what did that comment make you feel?
It made me feel sad that someone couldn't simply accept me. It made me feel sad because that person is not open-minded and I value being open-minded.
So in that moment, you knew this person was not somebody you wanted to keep around you.
Oh, no, of course not. Definitely. But what my friends did for me made me feel very accepted and seen. So I wanted to ask you about a moment in your life that you can recall when you were accepted and seen.
I think our relationship is a very lengthy moment of where I feel accepted and seen. And this is not to say that my friends do not accept me or see me or validate me, and I do appreciate it. But there's something about the way you have accepted me and loved me that is just different and goes beyond how I have been accepted before.
Oh.
This is not something that we've mentioned before on the podcast, but I'm gender fluid. And I'm not fully out with it. Partially because I'm privileged that most people wouldn't question whether I'm gender fluid. And so this is not a fight that I have to fight each day. And I acknowledge this as a privilege. I have friends who are non-binary, and it's a daily struggle for them because people question their gender identity day in, day out. And I think that's horrible. For me, I see myself as both, but I'm also okay with being seen as a woman because that's one of the two things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not that they're wrong. It's just they don't see the full picture. And in my last relationship, it was accepted. There's no question about it. He never made me feel dismissed or anything like that. And I did experience gender euphoria through play that we had. So I want to be clear that I'm not dismissing his acceptance and I'm not thinking less of it. It's simply that in our relationship, you have made me feel so seen in ways that I have never felt seen before. Whether it's because sometimes you address me as a short king or call me handsome.
Yeah, you are.
And you're so pretty. All those little things, it's more than accepting, actually, it's validating. And I think those are two stages. And hopefully the two are coming together. But sometimes you're just accepting something and you're like, okay, that's it. And sometimes you accept it and you double down on the acceptance, which is probably the first time I've used doubling down in a positive way. Feeling seen in such a way in our relationship has played a big part in allowing me to simply be myself and has allowed me to be a lot more playful and a lot more silly and a lot more joyful than I used to be.
I'm so happy. It makes me very happy to hear that.
I couldn't be happier for the fact that I found you.
You did find me.
I think your presence in my life has impacted my mental health a lot. I kind of wish my physical health would follow suit, but we're not there yet. I guess what I'm saying is that having somebody who accepts me and validates me on a daily basis impacts how good I feel within myself and helps me by allowing me to remember that even if the rest of the world doesn't understand, I can always come home to you and you will. And that provides a type of comfort that I think is really important in life. A safe space.
A safe space. I was just thinking the same. Yeah.
And I think it's really challenging to be not accepted and to not have that refuge to go back to.
100%. Before we started this conversation today, I was thinking about what does acceptance look like to me? You know, just one of the questions that came up for me. And everything you've said about our relationship, I couldn't agree more. The way you accept me has made me not just happy, but so at peace in my mind. I don't have to struggle and battle with ideas of will I be accepted and have to battle for my identity. And so the love that you showed me and the acceptance you showed me makes me really happy.
So tell me about a time that you felt accepted.
Honestly, yesterday. Let's go back to yesterday. I was working
But
from
it's so far away. Babe, we can't go that far.
Oh my goodness.
Will you even remember it?
I'm struggling, I'll tell you. I'll try.
Well, give it your best shot.
I'll try to recall it, okay?
Okay.
The best I can.
I believe in you.
I mean, it was 24 hours ago, right?
So hard.
Ah.
Go on.
So yesterday I was working from home, and this is a new job I just started a month ago, and it's been really great. So I'm wearing just a shirt, and I have no makeup on. I don't think I brushed my hair. If anything, I run my hands through it, so very low effort. And we're doing a video call, and we're talking about the issue that we are working on. And so one of the people on the video call was breaking down the process and referring to each person on what they did. And they were referring to people in third person. And every time they talked about me, they used she, her pronouns. It was easy as pie. And that made me feel very accepted. I am on the video call. I am not looking my femme self,
Mhm.
which they've gotten to know.
I mean, for the record,
Mm-hmm.
Venus always looks femme. It's just by existing.
No.
She is femme. But of course, she's used to having makeup on. She's used to having like a really nice outfit on.
Yeah.
It's almost like a fashion show
Mm.
every morning. Sometimes I sleep through it though.
Yeah, and that really made me feel accepted. It was just so easy for them. And I find when someone is using the wrong pronouns or is in a way going around using my pronouns by using my name, I feel like it can create a bit of a disconnect because I'm not being seen and accepted as who I am.
Tell me a little bit about that. When people use the wrong pronouns with you, what does it make you feel?
It makes me feel quite emotional, or it can make me feel quite emotional, especially if they can see me. And so that creates quite a disconnect. But this, I understand, this is a them issue. It's not me. But it does hurt. It does make me feel invalidated, and it does make me feel I'm just not seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough.
it can be tough.
But that's not something that you now experience in your home environment or at work
No,
or with your friends.
no.
It's normally strangers.
It can, yeah. I would say the strangers can usually struggle.
When something like that happens, how do you cope with that?
It's a really good question, and it does depend on the situation. If it's over the phone and it's a stranger and they got my name wrong and I had to repeat it 5 times, or if they used the wrong pronouns. Honestly, I don't have time and mental capacity to spend time on them to explain myself. And so the way I cope with that is, yes, it hurts, but they don't know me. And I don't need to be feeling validated by them.
Would it be nice though?
It would be nice. Oh, don't get me wrong. The times when people do validate me and use the right pronouns, it makes me feel very free. And I want to give more to this person. And I want to joke around with them. I want to ask them how their day is. I will feel comfortable to engage more. If it's face to face, I will do my best to correct them. And I've never had an issue where people rejected that. I know they're out there. And again, if this is a stranger who I'm going to see once in my life and they are not open, then honestly, I don't have time. I don't have capacity for it. But if it is somebody who is in my life, then I want to educate them. I want to spend time on them. It might be hard depending who that person is. So,
Can I be cheeky?
of course you can.
What about your parents?
Wow. Yeah, I know it was coming.
Because you're talking about how it is important to be accepted by people around you in your life.
Yeah, I know. I'm realizing what I said and the disconnect there. And
don't get me wrong, I can relate because I changed my name when I was younger, a lot younger. And I'm pretty sure my dad still uses my old name. And I hate it. But I let him.
Mm.
And I don't argue with him, and I don't try and explain to him how important it is to me.
Mm.
I would have liked him to use my name, my legal name. But I guess, I don't know if you will relate to this, but while it is important to me, and I would have loved for my dad to use my chosen name, the risk of creating a rift in the relationship and being rejected and having him double down on insisting on using my old name, perhaps that scares me more than having to deal with him using my old name.
Yeah, I can relate to that fear. And there is something about parents which adds another level of difficulty for some reason. I personally never had an amazing relationship with my parents. We are in good terms. We like each other, we can talk and it's all good in a way, but we are not close on a emotional aspect. And there is a fear around exactly what you said on them doubling down.
And then what?
And then what? I feel like that's something it's hard to come back from, and I don't want that. And so it's kind of stuck in this space between two things.
A bit of a limbo.
Limbo. Exactly.
I guess, if I talk to my dad about this and he still decided to use my old name, as much as it hurts now, it will hurt 10 times more if I know that he knows how important it is and he still chooses to use it.
Yeah.
My dad is getting older. He's in his 70s. We don't see each other often. It's not that often that I hear him say my old name. And I think, in a way, it's me choosing my battles.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like a hypocrite. Because in an ideal world, of course I want my dad to use my real name. Of course I want to be accepted as the person that I see myself as. But the world is not ideal. Far from it.
It's interesting how much value we give to our parents. And I fully agree with everything you've said. I give a lot of value to how my parents see me, but it's a scary leap to take. Can I ask you?
Anything.
How do you cope when you're feeling rejected and unseen?
It very much depends on who the person doing the unseen is.
Yeah.
If it's a stranger, I think I'm just kind of like, you're not my people. And I take a step back, or I just take that into account when I think about how to move forward. In the past couple of years, I have actually ended up removing quite a few people from my life based on political views that were against my country of origin and translate to me to being against me and my people.
Yeah.
I do understand that for a lot of people, we can agree to disagree. And there are certain things, of course, for the most part, that I can agree to disagree on. I don't need you to like pineapple on pizza. And I don't need all my friends to be non-believers in God. And I don't need all my friends to like cats. But I do need the people I spend time with or call friends to believe that my country has a right to exist, that my people have the right to be safe and be protected, and that our lives are important. And if my friends do not believe that, I just can't see them as friends anymore. It's that simple. And because this topic is so charged, because I carry so much hurt around this topic, and because it is so painful for me to begin with, the way I coped with it wasn't arguing. There were a couple of people that I reached out to because I thought they are kind, compassionate people, and I wanted to try and have a conversation with them. But sometimes you just can't. Sometimes, even though people are not personally impacted by these things, it impacts their ability to think clearly a lot more than it does for people who are impacted and still can hold space for both. When somebody invalidates your right to exist, your right to have a home, that's the only country in the world where my language is spoken. And for somebody to say that this should not exist, even though I left the country long ago, it hurts me on such a deep and emotional level that I don't think most people can understand, because not many people live in countries where the right to exist is being questioned. And I think it's a bit similar to people on the trans spectrum, whether they're binary or non-binary. Because somebody who is cisgender, who was born and raised as the same gender that they feel they are, how could you relate to the feeling of how the world sees you does not match what you feel?
Yeah.
And it's so painful. And so it might be really hard for people to understand what this pain feels like. And all I can say is that I hope you never know. I hope you never know what it feels like, because it's crushing. And after a few months of sitting with it, of trying to hold it, and to hold space for people who honestly did not hold space for me, I have made the decision to just remove them. I did not talk to them. I did not give them a heads up. I did not go into a conversation about it or argument or anything like that. I deserve to feel safe.
Yes.
And if you don't accept me, and yes, my country's right to exist is a part of this, if you don't accept that, then you are not safe for me. And so I removed quite a few people, and I removed myself from quite a few social environments, and I limited my new connections. And I'm not saying that's how everybody should act, but from the point of feeling like my right to exist is being questioned, I only wanted people who believe that the answer is an absolute yes.
Yeah, I think you touched on a point there that unless you're going through it, you don't actually have an understanding of what it feels like. And I wish people hold more space for that specifically. You don't know. You simply don't know. And it's okay to not know. But it's hard. For some reason, it's quite hard for people to have that point of view. I don't understand this. And so because I don't understand, I shouldn't solidify certain beliefs around it and stay open-minded.
I agree. I think humility is very important. There was one time about 10 years ago that I was taking part in an experiment. And one day I went with two of the professors to the cafeteria. We were having a chat. Not sure why, but the chat got onto the topic of catcalling and sexual harassment and assaults. To clarify, both professors were white males. One of them was older than the other. And when I talked about how common these things are, they were in disbelief. And specifically, the older professor was trying to dismiss what I was saying. And I just remember this so vividly, and being taken aback that somebody, he's clearly not stupid.
Sure.
But I guess, as we know, you can be smart in certain departments, but not necessarily smart in others. So I guess this is just a part of that.
For sure.
And I was taken aback by it. And I just looked at him and I said, I don't expect you to understand what it's like to be walking down the street as a woman in our country. I expect you to understand that you will never be able to understand what it's like. You can't.
Yeah.
And if you can't understand because you don't have these experiences, listen to me when I tell you what the reality is like for me and for people like me.
Yeah.
I was just so, I guess, impressed by the confidence, but also get over yourself. You don't know what it's like. And I wasn't exaggerating it. When I later came back to visit, in one day, I was harassed 3 times.
Wow.
One day. So don't you tell me that I'm exaggerating, because once a year is too much.
Yeah, 100%. I find it very hurtful when someone invalidates my experiences. And that's quite a common theme in our society. Just because we don't experience it personally, we can dismiss others quite easily. Again, where is the root of this idea? I don't know. But it's very common around exactly what you spoke about, around racism and just in general.
Yeah, and I want to say that we all have blind spots, myself included. A few months ago, I was sitting down with a friend, and she's a Christian. Clearly, I'm not. And at some point, she mentioned that in some countries, not only is Christianity not accepted, they're being persecuted and being murdered for their beliefs. And I had no clue. I couldn't even fathom that before she told me. And of course I didn't know, because it wasn't at all a part of my world. And I don't have anything against Christianity as a belief. Some people and how they use that belief, different story.
Yep.
But I make that separation.
Yeah.
But with that said, most of my friends are not Christian. And so that was news to me.
So how did you take that information on board? What did you do?
I was taken aback and I asked questions. And later on, I thanked her for sharing that with me, because I clearly had a blind spot. I read a little about it, and it's just really sad and scary. And we were talking about a friend of hers who lived in such a country, still does. I found it interesting that she wasn't afraid for her. I know that if it was my friend, I would be scared.
Yeah, interesting.
I guess maybe I would say it touched me in a way I wasn't expecting, but it's not really about Christianity. It's about people's right to practice their belief, as long as it doesn't hurt others.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
And that hurt me. The fact that it's unsafe for people to simply pray. That's what saddens me. It's not about Christianity. It's not about being trans. It's not about changing my name. It's simply about being able to be who we are and to be accepted as who we are, and for that to be safe.
I agree. I feel we should celebrate each other's differences and cultures and be curious and ask questions and understand some things that can improve our worldview of these other people that we don't understand.
I think what you mentioned about curiosity is exactly it. Curiosity is key. I didn't know. She presented me with information that was news to me. Tell me more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to know. If I don't know, I don't assume that it doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, we shouldn't. And it's okay to say, look, I don't want to know. It's a complex, I don't know what to even call it, an idea or worldview, or being accepting shouldn't be so complex. I wish our society would learn, because this attack on belief system, for example, has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. Probably thousands. Let's be honest.
Why do you think that is?
I wish I could give you an answer. But there is
Yeah.
something rooted in the human psyche from somewhere, this notion that we know everything, that we know best individually, just because we have a certain worldview, that's how things are and should be, and it won't change. And this is such a complex matter that I don't understand. And I am curious as to why, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? What do you think that is? this notion of doubling down.
I think sometimes people don't want to acknowledge the possibility of there being another option, because then that would mean that maybe they should question their own belief.
Mm.
And while I don't necessarily think this is the case, I think some people feel like it is an attack on their beliefs. And so instead of accepting that somebody else believes differently and understanding that their belief can still be valid, they're trying to cancel everybody else's beliefs.
Mm.
I had that a lot when I was in polyamorous relationships. And I had people saying that poly relationships are not real relationships. There's no commitment. There's no love, because if you would love somebody, you wouldn't want them to go and have sex with somebody else, etc., etc.
Mm.
And I never felt like I needed to cancel mono relationships.
Mm.
That never felt like an attack on my right to have a relationship the way I wanted to. For me, poly relationships were right. It made sense. For somebody else, it may not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But perhaps if you have brought up your entire life believing there's only one way to have a relationship, and especially if there's a little part of you that wanted something else, but always knew that you're not allowed to have it, then how dare somebody else have it and say that it's okay? And then it comes the point, if you accept that as an option, do you need to question your own relationship?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really scary.
Yeah.
So hating on somebody else's beliefs might be easier than sitting with your confusion and rethinking everything.
100%. And again, the root of that concept, why is it so hard to accept? Why is it so hard to let go that we could be wrong?
We can always be wrong.
Such a, yeah.
Nobody knows everything.
Yeah, nobody does. Exactly. So I think we have reached the end. And I wanted to ask you before we close, is there anything you feel you took away from this conversation?
I think this conversation was a good reminder to be curious.
Mm.
Nobody knows everything. And we can accept things that don't necessarily make sense to us, but they make sense to somebody else.
That's nice. I like that.
What about you?
I think, again, it's a reminder that a good starting point for us is to have people who accept us around us first. Feel safe, feel seen, feel validated, and then go on and thrive in your life from that point. And how important that plays on our mental health, our self-talk, self-care, everything. I love you.
And I love you. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. We have reached the end of our episode and hope you have enjoyed your snack as well as our conversation. If you liked our podcast, we would truly love for you to leave a comment, rate our show, and share it with anyone who would benefit from our conversations. And if you didn't like our podcast, then don't worry about it.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.